for those that continue to seek improper and illegal entry into this country, be forewarned. This is a new era. This is the Trump era.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions there putting illegal immigrants on notice, laying out an aggressive guideline or several guidelines that could put illegals and those who harbor them behind bars.
All right, here to discuss, we got New Jersey Governor Christie. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you? All right.
He's your constituent, so I know you talked to him.
I live in Jersey. That's right.
He does.
I'm going to die.
We're so excited about it. We really are.
Thank you very much, Governor. All right, so Jeff Sessions yesterday made the case. Look, so far that now that Donald Trump has been president, the number of illegal crossings has fallen, but in the meantime, we're going to criminalize things in such a way that we're going to be able to put people away, unlike the last administration.
Well, listen, I think this is what the president ran on, right? He said he was going to toughen the border, and I think the Attorney General is following the president's lead, as what he should do. You're the Attorney General, you're appointed by the president, that's what you should do. So I think he will make it tougher. I think he wants to put everybody on notice. And listen, following the law is not a bad thing.
Yeah. Senator Schumer seems to want to humiliate President Trump, and he thinks the best way to do that would be deny funding for that wall that's going to begin in San Diego. They already took bids. They already have estimates. They already know roughly what it's going to look like. Where does the rubber hit the road for the president, knowing how important this is to him?
Well, listen, I think the president will be able to figure out a way to pay for it, whether Senator Schumer likes it or not. You know, that's part of the president's skill.
Where do you find $15 billion?
Well, you know, listen, it's a big budget. It's a multi-trillion-dollar budget. So, you know, I think the president will be able to find his way through it. And listen, Senator Schumer is still fighting the election results. I mean, enough already. You know, the election was months ago.
Right.
People spoke clearly, 306 electoral votes. And Senator Schumer should want to cooperate a little bit with the president.
But he's not.
Well, but for those of us who live in this area, we're not the least bit surprised.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Governor, the White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer had to apologize yesterday for this comment.
Someone as despicable as Hitler, who didn't even sink to using chemical weapons. So,
comparing what happened in Syria to what happened in
It
the
only got
Holocaust.
worse from there.
Yeah, it did get worse.
Hitler did use chemical weapons.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And listen, here should be a general rule for anybody involved in public life, whether you're a governor, a press secretary for the president, or whether you're a host of Fox and Friends.
Right.
Don't bring up Hitler.
Ever.
Ever. There's no winning.
Okay.
There's no winning in bringing up Hitler. Write that down. It's very important. Don't bring up Hitler.
All right.
You can't win in any conversation about Hitler. He is the most despicable human being in the history of the world. You can't make any kind of comparisons like that. And I just think that unfortunately for Sean, he got carried away with himself. I'm glad he apologized, but you just, given all that experience, you should know better.
Definitely deserves criticism, of course, but is the mainstream media, I mean, this is their headline. They're talking about it constantly.
Well, listen, this is the game we play. And so if you're the White House press secretary, you know that. He deals with the mainstream media every day from behind that podium. Listen, he made a mistake. He apologized for it. But the fact of the matter is that you never bring up Hitler. That's a good rule.
Okay.
If you follow that rule, I think you keep yourself out of this trouble completely.
But, Governor, is there a problem with the system that led to that? Is there enough people in the communications division to go over the top 5 headlines of the day in order to handle a 45-minute or a 1 hour and a half meeting with the press where there is no script?
Brian, do you really think somebody needed to sit across from someone and say, like, don't compare anybody to Hitler?
Yeah.
Like, I think if you had 50 people in the White House communications staff, they probably wouldn't have done that. That's why it's a mistake, right? He made a mistake, and so now, you know, he apologized for it, and I think people move on.
In all fairness, that has to be the hardest job. Could you imagine being in the hot seat every day?
Actually, he would have no problem with that. I've seen that here at Town Hall.
Listen, it's a tough job. And then the fact is, though, that, you know, I don't believe Sean meant anything by it. You know, and I certainly don't think he's discriminatory in any way. I don't think that's who Sean Spicer is. But your job is to be out there every day speaking for the President of the United States. One of the things you should take out of the portfolio permanently is any Hitler references.
There you go.
We should just stop that.
That's the lesson for today. Listen, I know that United, one of the big hubs, is in your town of Newark, New Jersey. You're calling on airlines to stop with the overbooking thing.
Well, what I really am saying is to the Trump administration and to Secretary Chow, you can do something really important here. Until you review how the networks, the airlines, are really using this overbooking, suspend them, stop them from doing it. Because what we saw the other night, unfortunately, is typical of the attitude of United Airlines. Now, I know that because 70% of the flights at Newark Airport, in and out, are for United Airlines.
They are.
And the attitude of that airline is awful.
What happened?
Well, listen, I don't know. I don't think they've ever really recovered from the merger between United and Continental. And I don't think they've integrated their employees. I don't think they've set a culture there. And you've got a CEO who basically takes off after the guy who's getting dragged down the aisle.
They get around it by, if you say no more overbooking, their argument might be, we actually didn't overbook. Everyone had a seat. We just kicked 4 people off because our crew needed to get there.
Well, you know what?
That's better.
Make other allowances for your crew. I mean, the fact of the matter is these are paying customers. And when I buy a ticket and then I check in and I'm assigned a seat, I expect that if I'm boarded onto the plane, that I'm going to stay on the plane. And I think to do what they did, everybody who flies commercially knows that United is awful. I mean, they know United's awful. And I mean, I talk to constituents in New Jersey all the time who really, if you live in the northern part of the state, basically have no choice but to fly United. And United uses that. They overbook it. They have less planes. They make more money. This is all about, remember this, they kicked those people off, that guy off the plane and the other 3, to make money.
Yeah.
That's it. And they're doing it with the permission of the federal government. So what I'm saying to the administration is stop them from doing it. You want to do regulatory reform? Let's do it.
All right. Christie, thank you very much. Let's hope they're listening. 2 lessons in that chat.
We know they listen to Fox and Friends. Come on.